That's good motivation. Also, whenever the guys get in there, you said you didn't know much about Nebraska. I like to think of the thought of you and your wife, by the way, at a Nebraska game with a hat on, just being like in the student section, in the tailgate or something, being like, place pretty sweet, pretty sweet, got good energy here. The whole thought of you building another school back up to a place is like, you'll go down as one of the greatest coaches of all time, but like that's a big deal, right? I mean, I don't know your age. I don't know your age. Right. How old are you?
48.
Young.
48.
Hell yeah.
You got what, like another 30 years
at least
of coaching?
I'm gonna coach for a long time. I'll like if I wouldn't have gotten a job, I would have coached I would have been a high school tight ends coach in Charlotte. So I'll always coach. I love kids. I love young people. So I'll always coach. But I think the big thing for me was it's not just winning. It's the way that we do it, and that's why Nebraska was important to me, because Nebraska believes in player development. They were. When Coach Osborne and Coach Devaney had this place rolling, and then Coach Solich, it was, they were the leaders in the weight room. They were the leaders in really sports science. They were the first ones to have a study hall, a training table. Like, they were the Georgias and Alabamas of that day. And so we came back, and I'll be honest, I was very blessed to be around Christian McCaffrey, because my time with Christian, I learned more about sports science, more about recovery than I ever could have. And we came here and we took out a bunch of recruiting stuff, and we put in, our building here is state of the art, and it's state of the art for development. And so, to me, it's about I want us to win, but I want us to win in a way that honors the state of Nebraska and honors college football, where it's not a quick fix, where we're recruiting high school kids and developing them and growing them. And if we can do that, then it's 3 places that we went to, and it's not me, it's all the whole staff that's with me. I got 13 former players working for me in different areas, from Carolina to Temple to Baylor. So to me, it's about like, hey, we went to 3 places and we left them better than we found them, and we built them from the ground up. And so I'm proud of Temple, I'm proud of Baylor, and I love what we're doing here so far. We just gotta get over the hump and get to where we're winning championships.
13 ex-players tells me the players love playing for you.
Yeah.
Once you find your people, you got the people that want to stay in there, and if they can make a living off of continuing to do it, you're a good man for that entire thing. AQ has a question for you, Coach.
Coach Rhule, what's up? Got a big question. I was a little offended that you didn't mention offensive line. You mentioned Scott Frost or Eric Crouch and Tommy Frazier, all these former guys, skill guys coming out to watch practice. You have offensive and defensive linemen scattered all over the NFL from everywhere you've coached in college. You just re-signed Raiola to an extension coaching on the offensive line.
What's his name?
Raiola.
What's that, Coach Raiola?
Coach Raiola, yeah. He has a pretty good lineage of, quarterback in his family.
Yeah, really. Anyways, he's offensive line coach.
He's the offensive line coach.
Got it.
How important is that for you to build up Nebraska among the offensive and defensive lines?
Yeah, it's the heartbeat of this place, and it's a heartbeat of how you have to play here. Like, I would say, AQ, there's 2 quarters a game in most games where the wind is 25 miles an hour in your face, or 15, 25 miles an hour in your face. And so, like, we're not, I watch, you Portal, you're watching kids in Texas, you're watching kids in Florida, like, it's 26 degrees and the wind's blowing right at you. So you better be able to line up and stop the run, and you better be able to line up and run the football. And in the heyday of Nebraska, obviously defense, the black shirts, and obviously the offensive line, the pipeline. And those guys, those guys obviously come around. Brendan Stye, so many of them, he works here. They care about the program, but we have to be able to run the football. In our first year, I think we were first or second in the league in rushing. We fixed our run defense. We were one of the top 2 or 3 run defenses, whereas the year before had been the last. So there are such big people out here in the Midwest. To me, it's about getting them here, getting them in a strength program, and we want to walk out on the field and you to know that that's Nebraska. Like, oh, they're all 6'6", 315 pounds. They got abs. That's what Nebraska football is. And so, look at me talking about abs, but that's what Nebraska football is. So, we want to be that.
Your Temple team, remember?
Oh yeah.
I mean, your Baylor team too, but that Temple team, I got to see a couple of them. They were all
stacked,
6'3", 4'4". Absolutely strapped.
Jeez.
Just like won the game before the game even. Like, look on the field, it's like, oh, that team, what is that? That team is huge. That is a goal for you. That is something that you actually like, hey, we need studs here. We need to make them, though, in the weight room and everything like that, because 18 to 22 is quite a development stage for the human body. So that is a focus of yours. Okay, that makes sense now, thinking back to the teams that you've had.
Yeah, so much of recruiting is like who matured early. But, you look at those teams you said at Temple, like, Hassan Reddick walked on, and Hassan did it all himself. I don't take credit for Hassan Reddick. But Hassan went from a walk-on to a first-round draft pick in the weight room, in the way that we practice. Deion Dawkins, Deion, starting left tackle of the Buffalo Bills, someone I'm really proud of. Like, he had just gotten dropped by Cincinnati, had nowhere to go, and we stopped at his house, and we were like, you know what? It was like a romantic comedy. I walked out of the house and I stopped, and I walked back in. I said, "You have a scholarship. Be there Sunday." It was like Friday. I said, "Be there Sunday," and he showed up, and now he's making millions of dollars in Buffalo and impacting the community. So, like, that was that type of place, man, where you had to build your team in the weight room, and you had to build your team on the practice field.
Give me something. Light a cigarette just so I can breathe.